Good morning, students. Welcome to the official channel of Woodbine Modern School. This is your biology class of class 12th, and it's your lecture number 4 of chapter 4, Reproductive Health. So, today our topic is 4.5 of your textbook topic, Infertility. Infertility. So, a discussion on reproductive health is incomplete without a mention of infertility. Why? Because we have till date talked about in this chapter that how we can stop a woman being pregnant or how we can stop her from being to conceive. But now the thing is, now the couple or you can say an individual wants to have a baby. Now next is what? If they want to have a baby, then the question comes, are they fertile or not? That means, are they able to give birth to a baby or not? So here now this term infertility comes into play. Infertility is nothing but simply if an individual is unable to produce gametes, or for example incompatible to have a baby, this condition is called infertility. So a large number of couples all over the world, in fact including our country as well, India, are infertile. That means they are not able or they are not capable of producing babies, and they are unable to produce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation. That means they are having intercourse and they are not using any kind of precautions. All the precautions that we have talked about, or you can say all the contraception methods we have talked about earlier, they have not been using those barriers, but still they are what? They are not able to produce a baby. That means they are what? In medical condition, this is known as infertility, and those individuals are called what? Infertile. So the reason behind this can be anything, like for example physical means, like for example in female, maybe the oviduct is not compatible for the fusion, maybe the uterus is not able to hold the baby. In case of males, maybe there's no you can say the flow of semen is not there. That means the semen doesn't used to come out of the penis, or maybe the scrotal sac didn't descend down at the seventh month. That means that the scrotal sac is remaining in the upper abdomen part. So in these kind of situations, what happens, the individual may have the condition of infertility. Now next is congenital conditions are what? The conditions which are being with us from our birth. That means if there is any kind of defect that is present from our birth itself, those conditions are known as congenital conditions. So for example, if there is any kind of defect, as I have told you about this descending down of testis at 7th month, if this doesn't come well with the male person, that means that male will be sterile. Why? Or you can say infertile. Why? Because the testis needs to come down, or the scrotal sac, the whole scrotum part needs to descend down at the 7th month. Why? Because I have told you that the semen, or you can say the sperm, has a viability and it needs a certain condition to be viable. The conditions are what? That it need a temperature 2 to 3 degree lower down than our normal body temperature. That means that it can't remain intact inside the body, like we have in case of female. The uterus, oviduct, ovary is situated inside the female. You are not able to see it from outside, but in case of uh, humans, you can see the scrotal sac. It is used to hang outside the body in the male part. Why? Because in that scrotal sac testis is there, and testis is responsible for the production of sperm. So sperm needs for 2 to 3 degree less. That's why it's situated outside the body. So these conditions are there. If that testis or scrotal sac doesn't descend down and it remains in the body. That means the testis will produce the sperms, but it will not be able to survive there. Why? Because temperature condition is not feasible. Now drugs, if you're having any kind of like nicotine, if you take the high amount, that could be very dangerous. If you're taking barbiturate, these kind of drugs are really very toxic for our reproductive health, and these drugs could make you infertile. So now next is immunological. That means there are certain kind of cells which are responsible for immune system, that means to fight in against any kind of diseases. So here what happens is the sperms maybe get killed by these kind of cells inside our body. Why? Because they are not able to recognize that no, this is a sperm and this is important cell and it shouldn't be dead. So this kind of defect is there in immunological part, or even psychological. Why psychological is included? Because you're thinking, like for example, a mother conceived but she doesn't want that baby. That means that she is not very happy from inside, and due to that the brain will not get the proper signal for the release of different kind of hormones. So during a pregnancy, the hormone regulation is really very important, especially progesterone, estrogen. These hormones are really specifically progesterone is very much important throughout the pregnancy. So, if that secretion doesn't help in properly functioning, that means that there must be an abnormalities there. So, in these conditions, the woman needs to think. In fact, the partner adjacent to that also needs to be very positive, and they should have a very free mind, and they should be determined that they want to have a baby. Why? Because these hormone regulations are very much important. So these hormone regulations, if doesn't occur properly, then also misconceptions can occur. Maybe you can say miscarriage can occur in a proper words. So, next is in India, often the female is blamed for the couple being childless, but more often than not, the problem lies in the male partner. So, students, it's not like that it's her fault, it's his fault, but the thing is, these conditions are not in our hand all the time. Like for example, in congenital, it is by birth, so you don't know where the problem lies. So to make any individual particularly responsible without knowing the reason that he or she having the problem or not, this is not appropriate. So first we need to understand, we need to know that problem lies in which partner and what kind of problem is there, so that we could take help, or we could have an alternative, which we will be talking about in today's lecture, that what are the different alternatives that we can opt for to have a baby. So, specialized healthcare units, like for example, infertility clinics are those clinics which assist you regarding the infertility process. Like you're infertile, your partner is infertile, but you can have certain alternative methods through which you can have your baby. So those alternative conditions are being suggested by what? Suggested by these infertility clinics. So this could help you in diagnosis and corrective treatment. Maybe you are having some kind of problem which can be diagnosed, which can be given some medicines, or so that problem could be cured. So these kind of situations are there, or maybe there are different corrective treatments can be there, some of these diseases, and are able these couples to have children. So main aim of these infertility clinic is what? To enable the couples to have their children. Sorry, students. So however, where such corrections are not possible, the couples could be assisted. Now if the corrections are not possible, like for example, if medication is not enough, so at that point of time what happens is certain special techniques, which is commonly known as assisted reproductive technologies, art stands for what? Assisted Reproductive Technologies. So R stands for assisted. This term itself is saying that it needs an assistant. It is talking about what? Assistance, a help. Reproductive technologies, that means the technologies which is associated with what? Reproduction. So in vitro fertilization, or you can say IVF, in vitro fertilization or IVF. So fertilization outside the body. Why in vitro? There are two terms, in vitro and in vivo. If I talk about VIVO, that means in vivo, that means that process or that technique is taking place where? Inside the human body. That is known as in vivo. And if we are talking about in vitro, that is, it is occurring outside the body in the laboratory. So, and it's an artificial method. So IVF, that means the fertilization must be taking place outside the body. It must be where? Outside the body, in almost similar conditions as that in the body. IVF is that condition which is helpful for the process of fertilization, and that will help in to have a baby. But here the benefit is that if there is any abnormality inside the body, so IVF is very important, or IVF plays a very helpful role here, that in IVF that particular method is functional. Why? Because it is occurring in a similar conditions but outside the body, without those barriers which are preventing the body to get pregnant, or you can say to conceive or to have a baby. So IVF is being further followed by embryo transfer, that is ET, is one of the such methods. So in this method, popularly known as test tube babies, so the babies which is being formed after in vitro fertilization, those babies are called what? Test tube baby. So test tube baby programs are there over from the wife. Ova, or you can say ovum. Ovum is singular and ova are what? Plural. So here we need to have more and more chances. We need to get more and more possibilities so that the child could be there. So for that, we can't afford to have only a single egg, or you can say ovum. So we need to have so many ovums, so they are collectively called ova. So ovum is a singular form, ova is a plural form of ovum. So ovum is taken from wife, or you can say the female, the donor, and sperm from husband. So donor, male. Sometimes it happens is what? Why donor is given in an oblique in husband and wife case? Because sometimes what happens is wife is not able to produce the ova, or you can say the ovum. So in that case, it is being taken from other woman, or you can say not the wife itself. So in this case, the donor term is used. And sperm, in the case of sperm also, sometimes husband is not able to, if the problem lies with the husband, or he is not able to produce a sperm. So in these cases what happens is another male is being told to give the sperm. So in these conditions they are collected. What? Sperm are collected, ova are collected, and they are induced to form zygote under simulated conditions in the laboratory. So in vitro fertilization, with this particular diagram, I'll make you understand that how this in vitro fertilization works. So here students, this is in first step, ovarian stimulation hormone therapy. That means for the stimulation of ovary, we have talked about that ovulation needs what? Certain kind of hormones that I have already told you during menstrual cycle when we were completing chapter number 3. So here in first step we are having ovarian stimulation. That means ovary is being told go and produce what? Eggs. Go and produce what? Eggs or ova. So ova or ovum is being produced by what? By the ovary. Now, how we'll get to know that ovary has produced or not, ovary is ready to have the ovum or not, or ovum is being produced or not? So through ultrasound control. So through ultrasound control, you will get to know, or you, not you, but the medical expert will get to know, okay, now you're having what, now you're having the ova and we can take it out. So now they will do what, a hollow egg pickup will take place. So they will do what, first step is what, they will ensure that ovary is producing ova or ovum through what, through ovarian stimulation hormone therapy. So they are giving different hormones whichever is being required, and whatever hormones are required during the ovulation. Now ovulation is there, that means that release of ovum will be there. Now they will do what, a hollow needle, they will insert a hollow needle, and this process is known as what, aspiration. Aspiration simply a term which is used for the, to have anything through suction. That means you create a vacuum and you just take out that thing. The similar thing which is we used to have in the vacuum cleaners. The vacuum cleaners does what, it creates a suction and it sucks out what, it sucks out all that kind of dust that are present on any material. So similar thing we will do over here, on the medical experts we will do, that is they pick the egg. That means they will create a vacuum and they will suck the ova from here and it will collect here. So they will do what, through the vacuum pump they will collect the ova. So now we are having so many ovums. So after that what happens is, third step is sperm preparation. Now from the donor, or you can say from the male partner, sperm is being collected and sperm is being what, prepared properly. That means that all the constitutions which are required by the sperm, that's being created. Now both are being what, egg is fertilized. So here we have collected lots of eggs, those eggs are being given, why, given this sperm's preparation. Now fertilization will take place, why, there is a male partner, there is a male gamete, there is a female gamete, so there will be a fusion. After fusing, from here zygote is formed, single cell, after that double cell is there, then four, then from 4 to so many cells over here. So now this is what, a 8 cell stage here. So now that will be what, inserted here through cannula. Cannula is nothing but a very thinner pipe like structure through which this so many cells which are present over here and they have divided. So in this condition this is will be getting transferred. So this is what, this is the embryo. From zygote it has converted into embryo, divided itself, and this embryo with the help of cannula will go from vagina to uterus, and here in uterus it will what, to implant, it will go and implant itself, that means attach itself to the wall of uterus. So this is the entire process of in vitro fertilization. So moving on to the next, the zygote or early embryos with up to 8 blastomeres. The blastomeres are what? Simply they are the cells which are dividing to form a baby. So this is called what? Could be transferred? Zygote, ZIFT. So ZIFT is what? When the zygote is transplanted, that is known as ZIFT. So zygote intrafallopian transfer. And embryos more than 8 blastomeres in the uterus, intrauterine transfer to complete its further development. So embryos formed by in vitro fertilization, fusion of gametes within the female. So also could be used for such transfers to assist those females who cannot conceive. So in this method we will be talking about what? We will be talking about ZIFT, that means zygote is being transferred. So here eggs are what? Again the eggs will be aspirated. You know that eggs will be taken out from the ovary. That will be placed here where the semen samples are being prepared. they are being placed. Now fertilized embryo, that is being done over here in this plate. Why? Because it is having eggs and semen is being added. After fertilization, zygote will be there. So zygote will be what? Transferred into the fallopian tube with the help of cannula. So transfer of an ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube. Sometimes gift is also there. ZIFT is what? The fertilization has taken place in vitro, that means outside the body, and then the zygote or the developed embryo is being transferred to the fallopian tube. But in case of gift, what happens is the gamete intrafallopian transfer. That means that the fertilization must take place inside the body. Only the male and the female gametes are being collected, mixed together, and then both of them are being allowed to fertilize, but in the fallopian tube. That means inside the human body, or you can say mother's body. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICSI. This is also a very prominent procedure. Why? Because this is very precise and the chances of success rate is really very high in intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Is another specialized procedure to form an embryo in the laboratory, which a sperm is directly injected into the ovum. So here I have given here a diagram. I have shown the diagram where we can compare gift, IVF and ZIFT, all the three that we have studied till now. So in gift, what occurs is the eggs are removed from woman's ovary, mixed with the man's sperm and placed in the fallopian tube, where fertilization occurs. For IVF, ZIFT, the egg is fertilized in a dish and then placed in the uterus or the tube. So here you can say that in case of gift, the gamete intrafallopian, that means that there is a ovum, there is a sperm, both of them are mixed, but fertilization is taking place here itself, that means inside the body. But in case of ZIFT, the unfertilized egg and sperm are there. Till this process, it's same just like gift, but here it differs that in gift this is will be transferred, but in case of ZIFT, the zygote part, or you can say the fertilized egg, will be transferred in the fallopian tube through the and from there it will move to the uterus. And in IVF also in vitro fertilization, that means that fertilization is taking in vitro outside and then it's being transferred. So IVF and ICSI that I have talked about on that particular slide, that intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Injection of sperm into the egg under control, microscopic control. Why microscopic control? So that the precisation should be there. That means a single sperm is being injected. Here this is the egg cell, students. This is the nucleus, and directly the sperm has to get entered over here, and this is being done with the help of a fine microscopic needle under the microscopic vision. And this is just to help to hold the cells properly. But here IVF, we used to take several sperms to fertilize a single ovum, but in this case ICSI, only single sperm is used to fertilize a single ovum. The success rate in this case is really very high because we are injecting the sperm directly inside it. So probability is not there, surety is there. So injection of a sperm into an egg under microscopic control, and here self-employed penetration sperm in egg after addition process sperm. So infertility cases, either due to inability of the male partner to inseminate the female or due to very low sperm counts in the ejaculates, could be corrected by artificial insemination technique. That means that there is a infertility in the female, or you can say not exactly in the female, but the problem lies where? In the male partner. That means that sperm is there, but the male is not able to fertilize the female due to maybe the low count of sperm, or you can say some other abnormalities. Like for example, the erection of penis may be not that which is being required, not in that particular frequency. So in that case also there will be an infertility. So in this technique what happens is the semen collected either from the husband or a healthy donor is artificially introduced either into the vagina or into the uterus. So IUI is there, that is intrauterine insemination of the female. If it is being inserted in the uterus, so it is called IUI, that means intrauterine insemination. So with this particular diagram I will make you understand like what is this AI, that means artificial insemination. So what happens is sperm is collected from where? From the donor or from male, or you can say from husband. So after laboratory processing, that means those sperms which are being collected, that is made viable properly and the movement used to be very fast. After that, that is being what? That is being inseminated where? In the uterus of the female, so that it could reach to the egg. Before this, what was the problem? Why we are opting this method? The problem is the sperm of the donor, or you can say the male, was not able to locate the ovum and come over here due to several other reasons of infertility. So we have done what? We have simply taken this as sperm collection, processed it, make it viable properly, and then we have injected it in the uterine portion. So insemination, if we talk about AI, that is artificial insemination. So there are two types of artificial inseminations there. So what are the two types? That is AI, that is artificial insemination by donor, and another part is artificial insemination by husband. Artificial insemination by donor, this method is opted when the male is completely infertile. That means there is no production of sperm is there. So in this case, donor is required who is not a husband but lending the sperm so that the female or wife can get pregnant. Now artificial insemination by husband, so husband itself is giving, but the way or method that is maybe not suitable for the conceive of the female. So in this condition, AI by husband, the male is able to produce the sperm, but how to that sperm will travel to the ovum, in that particular pathway there are a lot of abnormalities. So in this condition, these both of them can be used, like for the example, artificial insemination by donor and artificial insemination by husband. So though options are many, all these techniques require what? Extremely high precision handling by specialized professionals and expensive instrumentation. So what happens is, though options are many, so there are so many options that we have talked about, all these techniques require extremely high precision. High precision means the expertise need to be really very quick, need to be very much you can say expertized in those particular methods, so that it could be done very efficiently. Handling by specialized professionals always, and it's also very expensive. All the techniques, all the methods, students, that we have talked about today, they all are what? Expensive instruments. So therefore these facilities are presently available only in a very few centers in the country, because it is a very costly methods. So obviously their benefits is affordable to only a limited number of people. If we are talking about the method which is very expensive, specifically in India, then obviously there are only few people who can afford these kind of techniques to remove the infertility. So emotional, religious, and social factors are also deterrents in the adoption of these methods. So there can be emotional, religious, and also these kind of factors are there. So since the ultimate aim of all these procedures is what? To have children. So in India, we have so many orphaned and destitute children who would probably not survive till maturity unless taken care of. So our laws permit legal adoption also, and it is as yet one of the best methods for couples looking for parenthood. So, thank you, students. This was all about this chapter, that is the chapter 4, reproductive health. If you have any query from this lecture or from the previous lectures of this particular chapter, you can ask me in the comment section. Just go and write your query there, and I'll address it for sure. So this is all about this chapter, and we are finishing it. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next lecture.